Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It is me, once again, screaming into the void of the internet. Just got home and I'm recording this home, for once. Because honestly, I am not going to be here for very much longer. I went and paid my security deposit, signed the lease, all that good stuff. I met the landlady's daughter, and she's Asian, so I actually wonder if that's actually her daughter or if it's like an adopted daughter. So that's kind of interesting. Funnily enough, I gotta say something about that. I don't know what it is with these chicks these days with this freaking upper lip hair. Like they be having like thicker mustaches than guys. I don't. There's no way that they don't see that crap. They wake up every morning and see that. Like, what is up with that? It's not like I look at chicks like that, but it's like when you do, especially like, when I'm at work or something like that, I'm like, what the heck's going on? Like, do they just not see that? Do they? I don't know. It's probably like, the good old higher testosterone levels. There's all the freaking chemicals in the freaking drinking water and all kinds of stuff, so. Yeah. But I kind of want to talk about something. Two things. Well, kind of several in a certain aspect, right? I wanted to talk about fulfillment, motivation, and I guess family and something. I guess kind of my thoughts on it. Because something. I gotta say this, guys, and I know I've said this before. Yes, I desperately searched for work. And yes, I'm working. And yes, I'm happy to go ahead and hit that clock. Not because it's fun, but because I need the money. But it's not really because I'm chasing money, because I gotta say this, guys. Fulfillment. This doesn't fulfill me. Nothing about punching a clock and, handing Caesar my paycheck as he decides to take, like, say sometimes like a freaking fifth of the paycheck out. Nothing about this feels fulfilling. Nothing about this feels motivating. And contrary to a lot of people, a lot of people would then try and say, well, we see that's the problem, especially conservatives and tradcons. You see, you're supposed to be going to work as a man and providing for your family. And that's where the fulfillment will come from. But here's my problem with this, okay? My eyes have awakened. Period. Any man out here who has two neurons firing in that brain of his, he can see this. We all can see this. This is a rat race. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is a rat race. You are not meant to win. You are not meant to be comfortable. You are meant to continuously race until you cannot do so. And when you cannot do so, they hope that you have a kid, so then they can make them do it. And they make their kids do it. And their kids do it, etc., etc. While the people at the top of the pyramid scheme, the ones who are basically cheering you for the race and upholding the race, they don't participate. At least not in the way that you are. They're taking the trophies while you put in the work. And I wanted to talk about this because, funnily enough, my manager mentioned something because he's having a baby. Because his wife is pregnant. And, I'm not really one of these people that feels like people should go around telling, but my manager is so cool with me because he's not telling everyone, but he said, I'll just tell you. And that's kind of how cool he is, because he only really, he's friendly with everyone, but he's he'll open up deeper pause, with people that he's close to. And he felt that I was close enough to share that. And I respected him for that, Because I'm not really one of these people to tell everyone, your family business or what's going on in your marriage or anything like that, but, it really just, I'm really grateful to have someone like that, as my manager. You can get a lot of managers who are just garbage and stuff like that, but honestly, like I said, at this point, I wouldn't even want to leave that store just for him, Because honestly, having a decent manager and stuff like that really helps the work environment. People want to do more when they know that the people who are like over them are also willing to get their hands dirty. When it's just somebody yelling at somebody and it's just a bunch of garbage, they don't want to do anything because they know that they're full of crap. They want you to do all this, but they're not willing to do anything. You know? So, as per usual, I congratulated him. I said, "Yay, do you know what it's going to be, like, boy or girl? Got any names?" And he said, "Oh, not yet." And he's excited. And I got to say this because contrary to what people want to believe, if you have watched my videos for now, listen, I'm not against anyone having kids. I am against certain people having kids. Now, if you can prove that you're in a good position to have kids, you got a sharp mind, and you have the finances, by all means, And he is. He has worked at that establishment for quite a bit of time now, and he earns good money. He earns good money. His wife is quite nice, and he's a decent guy. And I can't help but feel like it's also a little bit because, funnily enough, you wouldn't think it, but he has Spanish in him, So that probably also helps, like the like bond that he has with his family and stuff like that. Because one good thing about the Spanish culture is they kind of they watch out for each other. And that's something that it would be nice if we could all emulate, but especially in the West, it just really seems like capitalism just starts giving you this mentality of, I can only look out for me. And I'm not saying that as communism is the answer, socialism is the answer. I'm just saying that in general. I'm just saying that in general. But yeah, I'm happy for him. But it kind of wanted to talk. It kind of made me think a little bit, because a lot of conservatives will say that's the answer. That's the key to happiness. Work, bust your balls as a man, provide for a wife, have kids, raise family. That's your purpose. That's your destiny. And whilst I respect someone's choice to do that, and this is kind of where I'm going to, again, disagree severely, supremely with the black pill and doomers. No, it is not your purpose to be out here just popping out babies. Because I will always say this. Quality is what we should all strive for, not quantity. If you really feel like it's somebody's purpose to pop out kids, then when you look at Ratchets and you see all these ghettos with 5, 6, 7, 8 kids, you shouldn't complain. If they have 10 kids and they're surviving off of EBT, you have no right to complain. They're fulfilling their purpose, right? You see, you can't sit around here and go, children are your purpose, and then you see some of these people, and they've got their kids in abject poverty, but hey, they're reproducing, so it's their purpose, right? You see what I mean? I want quality. And my manager is someone of quality. So I'm sure, hopefully, he'll raise his kid right. Hopefully. Hopefully. Because this world does everything that it can to just eat that hope alive. You gotta understand that all this crap that you were told as a kid, you can be anything, do anything, blah, blah, blah. I think one of the biggest problems with this generation is the fact that they have such a hard time letting that go. And I understand it. I do. Because I really remember the freaking hype that they would tell you. The world's your oyster. You can do whatever you want. You can be whatever you want. And now you're an adult. And you see just how much of a lie that was. You see just how difficult it is to do things. Old timers sit around here and tell you that you just need to work harder. Back in my day, when I was your age, I had X amount of jobs and I was making this amount of money. But at the end of the day, even when they hear stuff like, oh, well, I was only earning $10 an hour then, and now you guys are earning 20. Yeah, but inflation, so those $10 went way farther. I can't imagine going to the store for let's just say somebody goes to the store with $10 and they can come out with a decent bit of groceries, and I go to the store with $10, what the heck I'm getting? I don't even think I can buy a carton of eggs with $10 these days. I don't think I can buy a carton of eggs with $10. And for some reason, they have a hard time relating that to you. you know? But this is kind of what I kind of want to talk about, tying back to the family aspect, because here's my thing. Some people will look at me and they'll hear me. And when I do mention my desire to not really want a family, because they say, listen, you're too sharp. You know? People like you need to be the ones having kids, not the stupid people. And I can understand that at a glance. But here's the problem with that. Intelligence is not inherently genetic. Is there a bit of admission in the fact that certain people's IQs from certain groups are higher or lower? Yes. Middle Eastern people, for example, and people in, like, say, third world countries usually do not have high IQ. That's a fact. But does that mean that people in those groups are just fully incapable of being intelligent? No, because to me, intelligence isn't just something that you're born with. It's something you have to cultivate. Does your culture cultivate intelligence? Now, we know for a fact that, say, Eastern cultures, they absolutely cultivate intelligence. They are supremely harsh on their children, with grades, with work, with everything. They cultivate intelligence there. But even though they cultivate intelligence, is everyone in that country like in some kind of like high status, high, earning position? No. Because the truth of the matter is, in spite of all of this pressure that they put on you to like succeed and to strive to go beyond and all this stuff, they still want people doing like mundane average work. And the excellent work that they pretend that, like you're going to get by having like some kind of high IQ is very few and far in between. Nowhere near enough to go around for all of this supposed high IQ intelligent people. The fact of the matter is there are plenty of people that graduate, high school, college with very high academic prestige. And they land garbage jobs. Just doing mundane things. Because again, at the end of the day, no matter if it's here in America, China, Japan, Korea, wherever, life's a rat race. It's a Ponzi scheme. It's not meant to work for everybody. It's not meant to. And a lot of people try and convince you that, well, it is, and you just need to, again, funnily enough, what do you know? Work harder. Just keep putting more work into the Ponzi scheme and it's supposed to work. But it doesn't work like that. It never has. And it never will. Because what it's supposed to be about, number one, for them, is generating income. So, me thinking about this for a moment. Because I have to be honest, guys. I understand where people come from with that statement where they're like, hey, the smart people need to have kids, but like I mentioned, intelligence, number one, is something that you have to cultivate. It's not just something inherited. But here's my thing. Even though I love people like my manager, right? And I know that he has the capability to raise a decent kid. Just because you raised him, right, doesn't mean the world's going to treat him right. The world does everything in its power these days to crush hope. Especially for men. If you're a female, the world's your oyster. I'm not going to pretend like you don't have any kind of problems at all, but, you'll always have some kind of support circle these days. With the simpery everywhere these days, like, I can't imagine how you F up your life as a chick. I just can't. There's always somebody willing to look after you and take care of you. And you don't have that luxury as a guy. They're hiring chicks before you. They believe their word over you in law. Laws favor them. Companies favor them. And they'll tell you that you're in a patriarchy. So I can't really take chicks too seriously when they talk about how hard their life is. I'm not going to say that they don't have any hardship. That's ridiculous. But I can't listen to them with the same extent of concern and compassion that I can for guys. Because I know. At the end of the day, both my sisters, they moved out. Not because they had money, not because they were stable, but because they could get a guy. And a guy helped take care of them. I'm only just now, recently, soon to be able to move out. And that is all because of me. That is all because of my ability to work and save and be a pack mule. There's nobody who's going to just come and say, hey, listen, just give me some good pipe, give me some good D, and I'll take care of you. That's not how it works for us, you know? And so kind of what I'm going to get back at is going back to what I mentioned. What kind of world